Hey, Katie. I am responding to your unpacking for standards. I believe it was 3A and 3B. I want to start off by saying I loved your tool, your unpacking tool, your website. There we go. Your website. I love Weebly. I use Weebly a lot. I'm trying to figure out different things. So I feel like that's what I use, but I love your Weebly. I think it worked really well. I think it was easy to follow, and I think everything, it had everything that it needed to explain the standards. And I think that your resources and your examples for in the classroom were great. So overall, I think that your website was great. Um, when it comes down to this, what it talked about, your first question for us was, why is it important for us to know the content we teach? And I think that knowing the content is the foundation of everything else that we do in the classroom. If we went into the classroom, we could be a leader all we want. We could demonstrate diversity all we wanted and create a good environment for all of our students. We could reflect on what we're doing as much as we wanted to. We could do all of those other standards. But if we don't know the content, it's not going to help the kids at all, because the content is what they need to remember. It's what they need to learn. It's what they need to take with them so that they can do more and do better and all of that. And if we don't know it, then they're not going to know, because, if I don't know what 2 plus 2 is and I'm teaching you, how are you ever going to know what 2 plus 2 is if I don't know? So it's important to know the content that we teach, because it's what our students need to know. And if we don't know it, then they're not going to learn it. And so we have to know it first. You asked, what are some ways we can keep students engaged and active in their personal learning process? And I think this kind of goes hand in hand with the question you asked right after, which is how can we foster student curiosity in our classroom? And I think a really important thing to do with those two is to teach to the students' interests. And that doesn't mean that you have to make a lesson on Pokemon or a lesson on Star Wars or, stuff like that. Their interest, but find out what your students are interested in. And if you can teach with what they're interested in, let them read what they're interested in, let them do math problems based on a TV show that they really like, or let them do real world examples with TV shows or with video games or with sports and stuff like that. If we can hone in on our students' interests, then I honestly think that is a way we can not only keep them engaged and active in the learning process, but we can also foster the curiosity. When it comes to the curiosity, I think we can also do that by constantly asking questions, and not questions like, what's the weather like today, or what color is this, or what color is that, but asking open-ended questions that really make kids think. And I think if we can ask questions like that and get them to ask questions like that and get them to be interested like that, that's going to help foster that curiosity in the classroom, and it's going to help them engage in creative inquiry. We have to teach them how to ask the questions, and when they're asking each other questions, they're going to be extremely more engaged. They're going to be more curious. They're going to want to find the answer even more, especially if they're answering their own question. Your last question said, why should we integrate literacy across all content areas and disciplines, and how can it be effectively integrated to be meaningful for students? I think this can go farther, but with literacy, it's probably the one thing that they will take with them forever. And I'm not saying that they won't use math in life, because everyone uses math all the time. And everyone will use the skills and learn in social studies and science all the time. But literacy, you read signs, menus, books every day of your life. There is not a day that goes by that I don't read. There is not a day that goes by that I don't have to comprehend what I'm reading. There's not a day that goes by that I have to understand what vocabulary means, and I have to understand, I have to have fluency, and I have to understand all those different things. There's not a single day in my life that goes by without me having to do those things. And even if I don't specifically read, if I sit in bed and I'm sick and I watch TV, that's my listening skills and my comprehension skills. And yes, there's a picture in front of me, but all of that, ELA is such a an important topic in school because it's something that the kids will use for the rest of their life. Now, aside from that, I think that social studies and math and science should also be integrated throughout the whole day. I think you should try and teach everything all day, and obviously that you can't do that. That would just, your lesson plans would look crazy. But I think it's important to try and teach those things every day. But ELA for sure, that's a big one. And how can we integrate it? Oh, there's so many ways. You can have students read about science or math or social studies. You can have them make a presentation and speak about the other topics, or you can have them write about all the other topics. You can have them orally communicate with each other about certain things. You can have them compare and contrast with diagrams and writing things down. I mean, the amount of ways you can integrate English language arts is infinite, I think, and it's just, you can be so creative with it. So I think that integrating is an easy thing. It's whether or not you're going to do it is what it comes down to. But all in all, great post. This is a great standard that we obviously are going to have to abide by, because if we don't know the content, then I mean, are we really teachers? You can't teach without knowing the content. But great post. I followed it really well. I loved your classroom example, and I loved your resources, and I loved your explanations, and it was great, Katie, and I think you did an awesome job. Okay,